In this video, we'll see how to apply materials to the category of an object. We'll see how to assign materials via type and instance parameters. And we'll show how to use the Split Face and Paint tool to apply materials to the face of an object. I have the exercise file Assign Materials open. And we'll assign the materials to the kitchen cabinets and countertops in the view here. First, I'll select the countertop, and looking at the type selector here, we can see it's the countertop L-shaped with sinkhole, and it's a 24-inch depth type. And looking just below this, we can see it belongs to the casework category. So I'll click Edit Type here to access the type properties. And now looking at the type parameters, in the Materials and Finishes panel here, we have a countertop material parameter, and it's currently set to be by category. And this means that it inherits the material from the one assigned to the category in the project. We don't want to make any changes, so I'll click Cancel to close the type properties down. And now I'll select this other piece of countertop just here, and we can see that this is the countertop 24-inch depth type, and it's also from the casework category. We'll click Edit Type to look at its type properties. We can see this has a similar parameter for the countertop material, and it's also set to be by category. So rather than change the material in the different countertop families, we'll assign the new material into the category. So I'll click Cancel to close the type properties here. And now we'll go to the Manage Ribbon tab, and from the Settings panel, we'll click Object Styles. So now that we have the object styles open, we can see we're looking at the Model Objects tab here. And the first column is listing the model categories. Just here we can see the casework category. I'll expand this out, and here we can see the countertop subcategory, so I'll select this. And now looking at the other columns, we can see we've got columns here for line weight, line color and line pattern. And the last column here is for the material that's assigned to the categories. And looking at the row for the countertop subcategory, we can see we have the countertop material, and it's what's currently being used by the countertops in the view. So we'll click on this, and then we'll click the button that appears to open the material browser. Now at the top of the material browser, we'll search for tile materials. From the list of materials in the search results here, we'll scroll down and we'll select the tile porcelain 4-inch material type, and then click OK for that to be assigned into that subcategory. And now we can click OK to the object styles, and we can see that the countertops now have that new material assigned. We can also assign materials via parameters on objects. So I'll select the double wall cabinet here, and we can see that this is the upper cabinet double door 36-inch type. And we have several of these placed in the model here. And if I edit the type parameters, they will all update. So to show where they're all placed, I'll right click, and from the Select All Instances submenu here, we'll pick Visible in View. And now we can see all of those types of cabinets selected in the view. So I'll click Edit Type here to access the type parameters. And we can see from the Materials and Finishes here, we have the Door Drawer Material parameter, and it's currently set by category. So we'll click on this, and then from the button that appears, we'll open the material browser. And from the search bar at the top, we'll search for wood materials. And then we'll select the birch material here, and then click on OK to assign that to that door drawer material parameter. And then we'll click OK. And that's assigned it into the type properties now, so if I click off of these cabinets, we can see that material visible on all of the doors here. So I'll select the base cabinet at the bottom here, and we can see that this is the 24-inch base cabinet type. I'll click Edit Type to access its type properties. And in the Materials and Finishes panel here, we can see we have a Draw Material parameter. So we'll click on the By Category Material, and then open the material browser from the button that appears here. And we can see that the birch material is already selected, so we'll use this, and we'll just click OK to assign it to the parameter here. So we'll click OK to save the changes to this base cabinet. And again, we can see all of the instances of this cabinet in the model here have been updated to show that new material. We can also assign materials to individual instances of objects. So I'll select one of the base cabinets here at the end. And looking at the properties palette, this shows its instance parameters. And we can see in the materials and finishes panel here that we have the handle material parameter. So I'll click on this and again open the material browser from the button that appears. And actually we can see at the top of the materials here we have this bronze material. So I'll select this and then we'll click OK to assign that bronze material onto the handle material instance parameter. And looking at the view, we can see that that material is updated on this instance of the cabinet here, with the other instance opposite retaining its original handle material. Looking at the wall behind the cooker here, we'd like to apply a tile splashback higher up the wall. And to do that, rather than creating a new wall type and assigning a material, we can use the paint tool to apply a material onto the face of this wall. But first, I don't want to paint the entire face of the wall, just the area here between the cabinets and the countertop. So we can use the split face tool to create a separate face on this wall for this particular material. So to do this, we'll go to the Modify Ribbon tab, and from the Geometry panel, we'll click the Split Face tool. Now we first need to select the face that we need to split, so I'll click near the edge of the wall here to pick this front face. Now we can see the outline of the entire wall face here in yellow. And looking at the Split Face Ribbon tab here, we have the draw tools available to us. And I'll select the Pick Lines tool from here. So now we'll pick on the edges of the objects to define the boundary of our tile. So we can pick the top of the countertop here, and then the undersides of the wall cabinets. We'll grab the underside of the extraction hood, and now we'll get the sides of the wall cabinets for the vertical lines. And now we have all of those selected, we need to trim them to create an enclosed boundary. So from the Modify Ribbon tab on the Modify panel, we'll click the Trim Extend to Corner tool. And now we can click on the lines that we need to extend and trim to create the corners to create the enclosed boundary that we need. Actually this top line here, we need to just extend this to the edge of the wall face here, the yellow line. So from the Modify panel here, we'll click Trim Extend Single Element. Then we'll pick the face of the wall opposite as the boundary and then click on the line here to extend. And now that we have that enclosed boundary, we'll click Finish Edit Mode to create that split face. Now to paint the material, we'll go to the Modify Ribbon tab, and from the Geometry panel here, we'll click the Paint tool. Then in the material browser that's opened, we'll search for the tile material at the top here. And now we can see we have the different tile materials available, so we'll select the ceramic tile 6x3 inch white material. And with that selected, we can go over to the face that we've created on the model here and just click in the middle of that to paint that tile material. And we can see that's now applied to that area. So I'll click Done on the material browser here to finish the paint tool. Now if I select the wall, we can see that that face is still part of the wall. However, using the Split Face tool has allowed us to paint that material into just one part of the wall. And that now completes assigning the materials into the kitchen.